Dr. Vessels here. Do you have a few minutes for your sales development? Let's talk about the biggest part of your communication impact, those non-verbal things that we do in interaction. And I want you to remember, it's the majority of your message. The way you act and behave signals confidence, authenticity, truthfulness, and beneficent or positive intent. If you move the wrong way, people become suspicious, nervous, and that begins to interfere with your actual message. The tone of your voice and how you project has about half as much impact, but the words you use is only about 7% of what people take away from the interaction. Let's focus on an aspect of selling that happens fairly frequently, especially during negotiation, but also in the progression part of the sale where you are helping the customer rationalize a decision. We don't recommend that you transmit too much information on your feet. Some behavioral profiles prefer you to walk with them, a high D on the way in and out of a meeting. This isn't going to work, by the way, and that preference is just something that they think they can do, and they're actually wrong. When you're conveying important information, doing important discovery, and negotiating, you want to be seated at a table. If you're selling things in the home, that's the kitchen table. That's where decisions get made. If you're selling things in a professional office environment, the conference table, or actually just a desk in the office. Now, these rules apply to the DISC behavioral profiles. We're going to go fairly fast because the recommendations are simple. Now, D's are about power and control. So if you're sitting down at a table with the D, you're going to sit on one side and the D is going to sit on the other side and you'll face each other. If you're engaging with an I, those influencers, the best place for maximum influence is for them to sit at the table and you actually to sit next to them. You typically do this at a lunch table because it has to be a bit more fun than staying in my old office. But that closeness that you're going to get next to each other with an appropriate distance is where we can collaborate and work together. And your workspace is right in between. Now, when you're dealing with an S, this is a little bit different. You need to be part of a group, but you need to maintain amicability and politeness. So it's warm, not as warm as the I, but if the S is sitting at the table facing forward, you want to sit right there at a right angle to them. So the client will sit here, you will sit here, and then you'll be able to talk in this direction. Similarly, they'll be able to convey information to you, and you're close, but you're not shoulder to shoulder. Finally, the C are analytic. Similar to a D, they're task and outcome oriented, so they will sit on one side of the table and you'll sit on the other side of the table. The key to remember in interacting with that physical environment is you want to measure the warmth, the emotional temperature. You're not going to get a lot of warmth from a D or a C. That means the standard situation applies. You'll have more warmth from an S, so you'll move next to them, and an I, you can actually sit shoulder to shoulder. Remember this, and this will actually remind you of the behavioral style of the customer you're interacting with. And it can be a very powerful signal to them in a non-verbal way that you're one of them, that they belong to you and you belong to them, and they can trust you. We want that, because the only thing we can't make more of is time. So sell well.